The design you see here has been created by a construction company, and they get productivity with their copy of gCADPlus by lifting previous design work and put it into new design work. And the area under the blue circles here indicates the previous job. They had a circular grass area in one job. They had developed a vegetable patch there and a raised entertaining area in this zone, and all of that worked quite well as each particular job was assembled and merged into this one. But we run into some difficulty here at the front. The whole of the front design for this new property was taken from an earlier job, one done a long time ago. Let's move the blue circle out of the way and have a look at one inherent problem that you might come across when you're doing that sort of work. It saves a lot of drafting time. Can you see that as I zoom in here, one of the symbols has got some very thick sort of fronds at the end, and certainly the irrigation system here is also very thick. If I take off line weight, then the symbol returns to a normal view, and the line weight for the underground watering system also looks fine. So what we want to do, or what we should do, what we need to do, is to dive into this block. This is just a block, part of an original or a different drawing. So if I select one of these symbols now, we can edit the block, and this was the bit at the end. Ooh. So that's a block within a block, so I have to edit it again, and now I'm 2 levels in, and here's another block, so I have to edit that. So this is a very compound, very complex symbol, and we would advise not to have nested blocks like this, one block within another. And let's return to the problem. Can you see here, that's a line drawn with a thickness of 1 millimeter. Let me return, close the block editor, and we go back in here. I want to show you what the effect of that is. Line weight is on. Let's have a look at the layout for the front here. Can you see it doesn't look too bad, but it's quite thick, but the irrigation line I think looks much too thick. However, if I plot it on an A1 sheet, those two views, the rear and the front, are on an A3 sheet. This is on an A1 sheet, and if we zoom in here, things look reasonable. So I think the intention earlier on for that front area design was to have it printed on quite a large sheet. So let's return to the model, jump in again, pick the symbol, see if we can fix it, and we'll edit the block. We now know that we have to edit this block and then edit this block here. We need to select all of those lines there and put the line weight back to by layer. A by layer view is in fact a much better way to work, because all you need to do to deal with a problem like that is to just change the thickness that's associated with the layer. I'll just select that again. That's on a layer called plant symbol. So if you wanted your symbol to be a bit thicker, you can just change the thickness of that layer. So it's just the default line weight at the moment. Let's cancel and close the block editor, and now we're in the model. We haven't got, even though line weight is on, we haven't got that heavy thickness, and when we go to the front view, things look fine. The next step is to fix the problem with the water line. So let's come back again and let's see if we can pick the irrigation line, and there it is at 2 millimeters thick. We'll do the same and change that by layer. There's another irrigation line here. Let's change that one back to by layer, and we can zoom out, zoom extents. And let's have a look at what that layout now looks like. And let's zoom in here. And so even on an A3 sheet, that looks fine. Well, here's the result, plotting the A3 sheet using gCADPlus to a PDF file. Now you might argue that looks just a little heavy. There's a very quick and easy way to lighten that up. Well, here we are, we're back in the layout space. Notice that if I select here, all of the line weights for all layers are set at the default value, and we think it's just a little thick. So if we go to Format and Line Weights, the default for gCADPlus is normally 0.25. If I wind that back to, say, quite a fine line, we'll pick 0.05 of a millimetre and apply that and OK that. Now when we file and print, we've got an A3 sheet. Here is the result. Let's zoom out a little. I think you can see that's fine, some nice fine line work. So it's relatively easy to fix things up. I do notice, let me zoom in again, I do notice that we might need to pay some attention to that symbol that's over the top of the irrigation lines down there. So I hope that helps in controlling line weights and power drafting, assembling parts of previous design work and putting them together in one job.